You could be sitting in the Hall of Fame and the world will know your name. Good evening and welcome to Personality Profile here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's just around 9 minutes past 7 o'clock, and I'm so elated to be on your radio this evening because I've got a very, very interesting conversation coming up this hour. I'm Lexus Bill. Welcome to Personality Profile. Now, this conversation is live on our Facebook page. If you get onto the Joy FM Facebook page, you can actually join us via video. Yes, you don't have to miss any part of the conversation if you leave your car. I'm sure you're probably listening to us on your drive home, stuck in traffic somewhere or whatever. Yes, once you get home, you can actually switch on over to Facebook or YouTube and catch the conversation here tonight. Now, this is not one of those nights where I bring you a conversation with somebody that you probably know. This man that I have in my studio, you probably haven't heard of him. Well, maybe family and friends know who he is, but I'm only getting to learn about him not long ago. But his story is one that we would love to share. We're staying true to the DNA of Personality Profile, where we share stories about inspiration, about celebrating people who are doing amazing things, who are actually overcoming all the odds and achieving things in life. So it's not one of those conversations where I'm about to list a tall list of achievements, but I'm about to list one achievement that matters to humanity: overcoming an obstacle, overcoming the basic challenges in life, and succeeding in that effort. And that's the story of my guest this evening on Personality Profile. You would love to listen to this story. So here goes. A few weeks ago, one of my associates on LinkedIn, Edward Asari, great guy when it comes to communications, he shared a post about a young man with a caption "From security guard to university graduate," celebrating Gabriel Nartey's inspiring journey. So Gabriel's story, as shared by Edward, and I think was culled from a post himself shared on his feed. And that story is one of resilience, determination, and unwavering perseverance. A proud alumnus of Sugakopa Senior High School, he faced immense challenges on his path to earning a BSc in Administration, Banking, and Finance from the University of Ghana this year, 15th of February 2025. A dream that once seemed very impossible. From level 100 to the level 100 to mid-level 300, Gabriel worked night shifts as a security guard to afford accommodation near campus and support himself through school. By night, he worked. By day, he studied, often attending lectures and writing exams while battling exhaustion. Now, when the job ended, things became even more difficult. At one point, he had to sleep in a lecture hall, uncertain of what the next day would bring. But rather than giving up, he took on a part-time teaching job and embraced leadership as well as organizing secretary of Business House Junior Common Room, all while staying committed to his academic goals. So his journey serves as an inspiration for anyone facing adversity. It's a powerful reminder that no matter how tough the road gets, perseverance and faith can turn challenges into success. So this evening we decided to have Gabriel in the studio to actually get to know a bit more about the story, because I'm very sure somebody out there can relate. And this evening I'm actually going to activate the WhatsApp number. I know plenty people have stories like that, challenges that they've gone through. I mean, you probably can relate to, tough times, probably through school, through work, through life itself, losing a job, and all of those things. You can share on WhatsApp 055 1111997. But the focus tonight is on Gabriel. Gabriel, how are you doing?
I'm blessed, Lexus.
Nice.
How are you doing?
I'm well. Good to have you here.
Good to have you
Nice.
too.
And you look good in your lovely office shirt and your tie. Man, you look classic.
Thank you.
And you're doing your national service now.
Yes, I'm doing my national service.
So I'm guessing you're from work.
Yes, I'm from work.
Do you mind sharing with us where you're doing your national service?
Yes, of course, no problem. I'm doing my national service with Investcorp Asset Management.
Investcorp Asset Management. That's
yes.
around Jolu.
Yes, around Jolu.
Oh, okay. That's great. That's great.
Not so far from Fiesta Royal Hotel.
Yes, thereabouts. Okay. And then how's it going so far?
Oh, so far so good. The people there are very amazing, and then learning a lot from them.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, is it what you thought it would be after school?
Yes, it's like it's in line with where to be
Okay.
few years to come. Yes.
Okay.
It's,
Well,
it's in
you
line.
studied banking and finance,
Yes, I
right?
did banking and finance, and
Okay.
this is actually into investment banking
Investment
and
banking.
asset management.
Mm.
Yes, so it's just in line with what.
With what you do.
Yes,
You're
yes,
probably
yes.
not getting the practical part of the theory that you learned in school and all of that.
Exactly. So most of the theoretical things that I learned in school, I'm getting to know the practical aspect of it
Yeah, yeah.
with the internship I'm doing.
Okay. Well, I need to say congratulations to you on your graduation. That
Thank
was
you
in
so
February
much.
earlier this year. And you
Yes,
made
yes.
that post that a lot of people found inspiration in, and we thought that no, it's very important to actually have you here and get to know a bit more about that story of perseverance. Because when I read that from security to graduate, I thought I would see some macho man. But is this the body you want to use to do security?
Yes, this was the body I was actually using for the security.
You never got into a fight there. Did you have to heckle somebody at
no,
night?
no.
Because like that one, they will beat you.
Yes,
because, my guy-
yes. I never encountered any of those
You never
challenges.
encountered
Yes,
it.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
well, that's good because they didn't care. Like, anyway, but look, let's get to know where you're from. Where you from? Where did you grow up? Share a bit of that with me.
Okay, thank you very much. So, my dad is from Greater Accra, Ada, and then my mom is from the Volta region.
Okay.
So I am 50-50,
Yeah.
50 Dangbe and then 50 away.
Okay.
And then I was born and I grew up in Kaswa. So the whole of my life till when I was done with SHS, I was living in Kaswa. It was
Okay.
after SHS that I had to move from home, and then since that time, I just pay them a visit.
Okay.
So I was born, I grew up in Kaswa. That was where I did everything. Yes, and I'm currently residing at Talibuche School Junction.
Ah, right. So you mentioned you had to leave home.
Yes, I had to leave home. That was after SHS when I had to leave to join the security company and then start working. So from that time till date, I just go home to visit.
To
not
visit.
To, not to
But what
stay
are your
here.
parents into?
Okay. He works with a food vendor.
Okay.
And then my dad, he fell ill when I got to SHS, and then he died this year.
Wow.
Yes, and then because of that, he had not
That's
been
a
really.
long illness.
Yes, a very serious one. Because of that, he had not been really doing any active work. Yes, yeah.
Siblings?
Yes, I do. I have 5 other siblings.
5 other siblings.
Yes.
That's a big family.
Yes, it's a very big one. It's a very big one. Very big one.
So I assume that it was quite tough growing up with all these siblings and the burden on the family amidst dad's illness and all of those.
Yes, it was very challenging. It was very tough because, starting way back from JHS, even before my dad fell ill, there were a point where, things began to not to go well for them financially. So I remember back in JHS, there were times where I had to gather sachet rubber, to sell, get money, and then buy some basic stuff for school. There were times I had to even gather scrap metals, to also gather some money to, provide some basic needs for myself in school. And then fast forward, after JHS, I had to stay home for 2 years before proceeding to
After
SHS.
JHS, you had to stay home for 2 years.
I had to stay home for 2 years before proceeding to SHS because at that time the funding wasn't really coming. So I had to wait for my parents to get the money. After 2 years, they got the money, and then I started school. So when I went to school, few years into SHS, then my dad fell. So that was where another difference of woe started.
Right.
So in SHS during vacation, I had to, be working on the construction field, go to the construction field, work during vacations, gather some money. When we go back to school, that's what I used to sustain myself, because when it happened that way, the pressure was on just my mom.
Right.
And, we are 6, and I couldn't just watch her bear all the burdens alone.
Yeah.
So I just had to resort to doing something to, sustain myself.
Okay. Now let me take you back to when you were in JHS, like you mentioned.
Okay.
And you said you sometimes would have to sell pure water sachet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Look around for scrap metals and sell as well.
Yeah.
Did you have an understanding of what was happening? Did you have a realization of what was happening. I mean, it was your reality, but did you see what it meant? Did you know what was going on? Did you see it as a struggle?
So back then, I saw it as a struggle actually. But then one mindset that I'm carrying for all this was, um, I made up my mind that no matter the challenge, I was going to find a way to resolve it. So even then I was just a little boy, and when things were not going well for my. So I remember I was actually in a private school, and I had to be moved to a public school just because of the financial situation. So when I moved
And
there,
at that point, when the move happened, did you understand why the move was happening?
yes, because I was with my parents and I knew exactly what was going on.
Okay.
And then, they told me why they were switching me from the private school to the public school. And then, it was actually a very challenging time. So when I got to the public school, we relocated to a different place. So the place we moved to was very far from the where the school was.
From the public school.
Exactly. So, commuting from the house to the school was another challenge on its own. So it was a very difficult time.
How far away was it?
Roughly, it might be like from Legon to La Paz.
From Legon to La Paz?
From Legon to La Paz, yes. and I go by foot from Legon to La Paz. I had to walk that distance just because things weren't going on so well. So it was through the selling of the sachet rubbers that I was able to raise some money. I think then 60 cedi, and I bought some home used bicycle.
Okay.
So that was the gym wagon I was using when I was in the JHS. Yeah, that was what helped me to a point. So all through that, graciously, I completed JHS, but then the problem was with the money to
go to the secondary, the senior high school.
Yes. Then the free SHS hadn't come, so
okay.
I had to, stay home for the 2 years, wait for my parents to get me the funds.
What did you do within those 2 years?
So those two years, I was still doing some menial jobs at home. Then my dad was doing some petty farming.
Okay.
So I was helping him. I was helping my mom with. She used to sell in the market, so I was helping her sometimes in the market and all for the 2 years. So I wasn't really involved in any active kind of work. It was just helping at home and all. Yeah.
At that point, what did the future look like for you?
So honestly, at that point, I just didn't know where I was going to end. So between JHS and SHS, okay, it got to a point where I realized that my school was becoming a bother to my parents because it was like all the time they kept on being worried about it. I remember there was this time that I told my dad that I just want to put the school aside and then become a trotro driver.
Okay.
Yes, I told him that, and then even though he wasn't having the money, he wasn't happy with what I told him. So he went around to talk to people to come and talk to me, even though he knew he was not having the money. So the people came to talk to me, and my dad, he encouraged me that he was going to get me the money for me to start a school. So few months down the line, that was. We were in 2 years. Then they got me the money.
Okay.
And then I started a school.
Why a trotro driver, and where did that idea come from?
Yeah, so it's actually because of the environment I was in. That was the easiest and the most convenient kind of work I could think of. Because. Okay. The other works that were around were construction work, and it's very tedious. I saw it was very tedious, so I didn't want to venture into that.
And we know your size. You can't raise a bag of cement.
Yes, I didn't want to venture into that. So I just thought of, if the school won't work, then why not go into trotro driving. So I even got to the point where I was helping an uncle as his mate. He was a trotro driver.
Oh, so you actually started
yes,
the apprenticeship?
yes.
Or
yes,
should I call it internship? this is more like...
I think that was even before I completed GHS. So yes, it was there. Yes, I just wanted to go into it because I saw it as the easiest path at that time.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Well, if you're just joining us, you can send me a WhatsApp message on 0551111997. I'm spending time with Gabriel Nartey, whose story is quite incredible. I mean, some that a lot of people probably can relate because of where we're all coming from and all of that. Very humble beginnings and all, but how he managed to make it through and achieve a BSc in banking and finance from the University of Ghana, Legon, is how we are meandering tonight's conversation and probably inspiring somebody out there. I mean, times might be tough and all of that, but, well, maybe faith played a role. We'll find out. Now, even though you wanted to now find a very convenient way of getting, money through being a trotro driver and all, let's talk about the bigger picture of career aspirations. As a young person, is there a certain profession that you really thought you would want to be when you grow up?
Yes, so I became more conscious of the career thing when I entered SHS. That was when I was able to figure out exactly what I loved to do when it comes to academics. So getting into senior high school, or a few months after I got into senior high school, I became so passionate about the course I was reading. That's the business. So way back from SHS, I've just been desiring, to be in the finance space. So to have a background in accounting and then finance, and then just become, a guru. Let me put it that way. In the finance space. So that has been my drive from the onset. And getting into university, I got to explore a lot of career options, and then one that I'm very keen about and I'm very interested in now is becoming an asset manager or a fund manager. Yes.
No, I was asking that question about when you were much younger, the kind of professions that you wanted to be, because when we were much younger, we all had all these ideas.
Yes. So yes.
Yeah.
When I was actually young, back in JHS, I had a dream of also becoming a doctor.
Ah, right.
Yes, I had a dream of becoming a doctor, but then along the line, things just switched. And I just decided that I was getting into the business.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Yes, I remember the very first time someone asked me what I wanted to become when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So the person I wanted to become a doctor.
A doctor.
Yes, but then...
Was there anything that inspired that choice?
Oh, I don't really recall anything that inspired. I think I just said it because I saw it as a nice profession, and then, it was just nice seeing people who are doctors. And then back then I was also told that they were paid well. Yes, and they were respected so well. Yes, so those are some of the reasons why I, decided to say that I wanted to be a doctor.
I mean, the doctors listening, please confirm. I hear you guys are paid very well. We want to know. But what about your parents? Did they have an idea of what they would want you to be as well?
No, please. So, unfortunately, my parents couldn't go further with their schooling. So when it comes to making decisions with regards to our career pattern, they mostly leave it to us for you to decide for yourselves. Yes. So basically, it was, as I said earlier on, when I got to SHS, that was when I became more conscious about the whole thing. Yeah. So from the onset, I was just doing something my focus was just to do well in my academics. That was my focus. I didn't really know what exactly I wanted to do until I got to SHS.
What about your siblings? You said you have 5 other siblings.
I have 5 other siblings.
Are you first? Are you last? Where are you?
I'm actually the 4th.
You're the 4th born, so you have a few older siblings as well.
Yes.
Okay, and how are they doing? How did they get by as well?
Okay, so when I was in JHS, that was when my sister my parents' second born, was done with SHS.
Okay.
But then she couldn't further to the tertiary. I remember back then she used to tell us that she wanted to become a nurse, but then she couldn't further until recently. So I even graduated with her from Legon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she started with me and we graduated together. But then our firstborn, which is my brother, he, he too couldn't go further with the school thing because of the financial issues. So he resorted to a delivery business. So he's currently into delivery business.
Okay.
And the one I am after, she too couldn't complete JHS as well.
Okay.
So she's currently a shop attendant with a shop in town.
Okay.
And then me. Then two others after me.
And are they in school?
Yes, so the very last one is in senior high school now.
Okay.
And the one after me is also done with technical school.
Okay.
He's waiting to purchase forms to, start tertiary.
How close-knit is the family?
So currently, my parents are currently not together.
Okay.
My is at a different place, and then my dad is currently is my junior brother who is with my dad.
Okay.
And my elderly siblings, two are married and they are with their families.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the one I am after is with my mom. And then the very last born is also with my mom because she's a female.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So now you're done with junior high school.
Yes.
You find your way to Sugakope
Senior
High School.
Yes.
Tell me about life on that campus as well.
Okay. So I would say that it was actually a challenging time, but then God really intervened, because I remember when I got to the school, I was discouraged by some friends.
Discouraged?
Ideally, the plan was to go to Adisadel College, but then when I switched to the public school, I had to change my mind, because I realized that, excuse me to say, with the level of the quality of the teaching there, I realized that it wasn't going to give me the grades to get into Adisadel College. So I had to quickly change my mind and then go in for something that, with my grade, I can easily get. So I opted for Gakope Senior High School, and I got it, and I went there. So when I went there, I was discouraged because, I had other friends who were there, and
who were in Sugakope or Adisadel?
Yes, Sugakope.
Okay.
So they came, and then, I was having a conversation with one of them sometime, and then she said, she was just talking the school down that it's not an A school, and then it was difficult to excel in your WASI in such a school, and it was difficult to do well. And what she said, to an extent, it was actually true. But then, one thing that I told myself was, even though the school is seen as a less privileged school, I'm not going to let that affect me in any way. So right from the onset, right from SHS1, I told myself that the people who went to Presec, the people who went to Adisadel College, if they are able to come out with excellent grades, I'm also going to make it into Gakope Senior High. And graciously, I completed, and my results were very excellent. I had friends who went to other schools, and I was even expecting them to do way better than me, but then I ended up doing way, 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 way better than them. So one thing I would say was my driving force was, I totally decided to depend on God and be very, very determined and serious with my studies, because it was that place that I realized that mostly, in as much as our environment really plays a role in the kind of people we become, our mindset plays a major role. Because I had to tune my mindset to believe that even though the school is not, really recognized as, a well-performing school in the country, I can still make something better out of it. Yeah.
I see. I like what you say about the mindset bit.
Yeah.
the mindset plays a very, very
It
important
plays a very
role.
big role. Very
Now
big
let's talk
role.
about how finances also played a role because at the time times were still hard,
Yeah.
and now you were in the boarding house, right?
I was in the hostel.
In a hostel, okay,
Yes.
right. And how was life? How were you handling that? Were things smooth at the time?
Okay. So when I got into SHS, things weren't that smooth. But then, as I said, I had to change my mindset, and whenever I wanted to, things became anytime things became difficult, I just reflected on where I was coming from, the things that were happening at home, and then I was just bent on bringing something different home. So it was difficult because I remember back then during vacations, okay, even with my stage, not being a macho man, I had to still go to the construction field to work. And after working during the day, I spent the night to study during the vacation. So I was studying before school resumes. So by the time school resumes, I had already gone
Covered
ahead.
most of it,
Exactly.
yeah.
So even though it wasn't so much, I was still covering the topics
Yeah.
in bits. So by
Yeah.
the time we get to school, I had gone ahead, and that was one thing that really helped me. So it was very challenging. It was very, very challenging. Yeah.
Because I mean, I remember back in the day when we were in school, I mean, secondary school, and you didn't have much, you're on Gary 24/7, Gary and Shito 24/7. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are days you do soakings,
Yeah.
some days Gary and Shito, yeah,
Yeah,
yes, some days Eba. Was it like that for you as well?
Yeah, it was. I
Or you had
think
some very good meals or something?
it was worse because there were days where I literally I had nothing. There were days where yes, I had to, I was a day student, but then I had to be feeding on the food for the boarders. Yes, so you can imagine how it was as a day student back then. I had to be finding a way to be enjoying the meals from the dining hall,
From the
even
dining
though
hall.
even though I was a day
Did you
student.
sneak in?
So
Confess, your teachers are listening. I mean, let them know that somebody was sneaking into the dining hall.
so actually there were okay. There were times where I sneaked in, but then it got to a point. My very good friend became the school prefect.
Ah.
So that was when I began to enjoy the meal from his
okay.
cubicle.
Yes,
So he
yes.
takes the food there and then he invites me over. So I go there to
Look, in
enjoy.
life, make good friends. In life, you need to make good friends in high places so that
Yes,
the
yes,
privileges that have accorded them might flow onto you. That's quite interesting. Well, you're welcome to send in your messages as well and share your stories as well. Tonight, I'd also love to know some of the challenges you went through, you listening in. If you can relate to Gabriel's story. Edmond Awaite says, good evening, Lexus. I'm inspired by Gabriel Nartey's story. His sense of determination, resilience, passion, sacrifice, and willingness to do anything to support his education is very encouraging. I promise to give him this book, Attitude is Everything by Keith Hariel. Oh, that's so kind of you, Edmond. Thank you so much. Yeah. Let me know how I can get the book to Gabriel. Yeah, and that's Edmond who says he wants to get you that book as well.
Thank you,
Anyway,
Edmond.
so now we're done with Sugakope.
Yes.
And I love Sugakope as well because my very good friend from growing up back in the day attended Sugakope secondary school, Courage Azanu. Courage used to come and tell me stories about Sugakope.
Yes,
And
yes.
it was a very good friend and brother there. So yeah, it brings back very fond memories.
Yes. It's
from back in the day.
I've come to realize it's actually a good place.
Yeah,
It's just a mindset thing.
Right.
It's a
right.
mindset because mostly the people who go there, some of them before they get there, they feel that because of where the school is located or because of how the school has been for a while, they just have this loose mentality.
Yeah.
So before they get there, they're already discouraged in their mind. But then if you have the right mindset, because it has when I came out from school, and then I listened to some of my friends from the other schools and things, I realized that the teachers over there, they were doing so much, but then the problem was with the students. Yes, the problem was with it. It was like the schools that were doing well in Accra. When you go there, the students were rather pushing, and the teachers, it was opposite. Okay, so when you come to our place, the teachers are rather pushing, and the students feel the teachers are not pushing for them. But when you come here to this place, the students are pushing and they are getting little from the teachers. So I think it's a mindset thing.
Okay. Now let's get to University of Ghana. Now, after school, after Sogakope, how did you get into University of Ghana as well?
Yeah, so that's a whole story on its own. So after school, I was at home, and then I just didn't know what to do. The WASI results were out, and it was very excellent, graciously, but I just didn't know what to do. So I just thought of joining any of the security agents, either the military or the police or the fire service, any of them. I was just thinking of joining that. Then I was just at home. Then one of my mates from SHS just called me that, Gabriel, I've got the security work at Chowlu. Are you interested? Will you do it? I was like, oh, why not? I'm interested, because I felt it was in line with what I wanted to do.
The military.
Yes,
and the
because I just saw it as a quick
Okay.
way to make some money, to start catering for the financial needs of my family, since my dad wasn't still well. So I moved quickly. That was in the latter part of 2019. I moved to the place, and then I went through the trainings and everything, and I started work.
What kind of training were you given?
Oh, you have to do some. You have to do push-ups. You have to do jogging,
Physical training.
physical trainings, and then they have to take you through some classes, how to respond to when you are taken to the client's premises, how to respond when you sense, when there's a crime issue at the place and all.
Yeah.
So they took us through all those trainings, and then.
And this training was for like manned security.
Yes.
Like where you man somebody's home.
Yes.
Or an office complex or something.
Yes, it was a training for man security. Yeah,
Okay.
How to even use the trench run. There's this wood we use.
Okay. What's it called again?
Trench run.
Trench run.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. It's a black.
Yes.
So you were trained
It's
in
like
using
a T, half
exactly.
T of a thingy.
Yes, because we are not allowed to use weapons like guns and other weapons. So that was our weapon. We're trained on using them, and then how to even record events. So when you're at a place and events, things happen, how to record them and all. So I went through all that, and then I started work. So I was posted to a lady's premises, to work for her. So I was the day security guard, and then my friend was. My other colleague was the night person. So I worked there for 6 months. So that was in like the middle part of 2020.
Okay.
I was one day, that day I was busy during the day. So I decided to tell my colleague to stay in for me. So I take over in the evening. So it was evening, I came to duty, and then the lady was returning from work actually. Then she had never asked me that question before. So I opened the gate for her, just waiting for her to enter. So I closed and then go back to where I was sitting. Then, right when she entered the compound, she stopped, and then she asked me that if she got me something better than what I was currently doing, will I do it? I was like, yes, because I felt that was just what I wanted to do. So, and I knew what she was talking about. So she asked me to bring my WASI results, and then I quickly went home the following day, got it and brought it to her. Then after she saw the results, she told me that no, with the results, she wouldn't advise me to join the security agency at that time. So she wants me to go to school first. If I'm done and I still have the passion for it, then I can consider that. So I listened to her because considering her her rank and the caliber of person she was. I listened to her. Then I had bought Legon forms, but then even the forms, I wasn't the one who bought it. It was my sister who forced me to buy it because anything about school had left me that time.
Okay.
I was just looking for something I can do to earn money. So the school was a secondary option. So when the lady told me that, and she assured me that if the what's the name, the admission comes, okay, I should let her know, and she would see how best she can help me.
Right.
Not so long. Then our contract with her was terminated.
Oh wow.
So I was moved from a place to another place, and she got in contact, and she was in touch with me. So she assured me that if the admission comes, I should let her know. And then when I moved from a place, I was moved to another place too. So there too, graciously, I met another person. I didn't know it was something that came up, and then, he brought up a conversation around this whole school thing, and then he got to see my results, and then he also got interested, and he also told me that if the admission comes, he was going to help. So, to cut everything short, okay, the admission came, and then I spoke to both of them, and they all helped me with some funds to pay for my admission fee. Yes, and I'm so much grateful to them. So that was how I started.
Yeah.
So I started, and then I went to level 100, But then
before we get to school, tell me about that period as a security guard.
Okay.
How was it?
It was also a difficult moment because that was a time where I was just every day before I even go to my post, I always pray to God that He shouldn't let anything bad happen, because the work is very risky to the extent that there were days where some of my colleagues were arrested because of theft issues at their places that they were posted to, which they knew nothing about. But then as a security guard, if there is an issue, you are the first suspect. So people were arrested, and if you are fortunate, okay, and you are not arrested, then what they would do is they will be deducting the cost of the missing item from your salary in bits until they get the actual amount.
Wow.
Yes. And that was one thing I was always praying about, and graciously nothing of such happened to me. Yeah. So it was what's
the worst thing that happened to you on the job?
On the
Anything
job
that you recall?
Yeah, the worst thing that happened with me was the time where I had to leave. What actually made me leave? It got to a point where one of the supervisors told me to choose between the security work and the school. So I really felt bad when I heard that from him. So I had to even leave when I wasn't ready.
Okay.
To leave. I left when I wasn't ready, and that was even what led to me sleeping in lecture halls and other things, because I wasn't really prepared.
Okay, so at that time it means you had started school.
Yes, so I did the work a year, then I entered school.
And you were still doing the work?
I was still doing the work, because even though I had gotten money to pay for my admission fee, the problem was with a place for accommodation.
Yeah.
And the security company, very generous. They gave us a place for accommodation.
Okay.
And it wasn't so far from campus. So I felt like, okay, if that's the case, then I can still find a way to balance it. Go to school, come back, go to work. Then the following day, I go back to school, that kind of thing.
So you went to school in the day?
Yes.
Came back in the evening?
To go
and then you go to your post at night?
At night, exactly.
So when do you sleep? In class? Or you slept on the job sometimes?
Yes, so let me confess. There were days where, I had to sleep on the job. But it wasn't a comfortable sleep, because even as you are sleeping, you are thinking of criminals coming in.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a peaceful sleep. So there were days where I slept, but it wasn't a sleep as like a restful sleep.
I understand
It was.
that.
I would say it was sleep in chaos, because you are sleeping, but then you are not sleeping, because as you are sleeping, you have to,
keep your senses up.
Exactly, because anything can happen, and I remember there was a time where I was at it was a workplace. When I started, I was posted to a house, but then I was posted to a workplace, and day and night.
Okay.
So for such a place, it was very difficult for
You can't sleep.
yes,
Yeah.
it was very difficult for me to.
How much were you paid?
Back then I was paid. It was 400 and something, a little below 500 cedis.
Okay.
Yes, a little below 500, and that was what I was using for feeding, transport, and everything.
Very interesting. Lots of messages. Let me just get to read some here. I think I got a message from. There's no name. Okay, Caleb. Yeah. Top guy, Gabriel. So proud of you. That's Caleb from Investcorp, actually.
Yes, he's my colleague.
He's your colleague.
He also went
great.
to Legon.
Yeah. William Mingomwa says, Lexus, Gabriel has a good voice for radio. I agree. I think you've got a nice voice. Joe FM should hire him so that he begins his internship ASAP. All right. At least we'll have one citizen of CAC City at Joe FM. Great. Lexus, I'm blessed with this great story. There are wonderful and super intelligent young guys out there who need a helping hand. Alexis, I met a young man who was selling coconut on commission basis at Tema Community 25. We got talking and I realized he wanted to go back to school. As we speak, he's at Winneba University. Oh, wow. That's totally awesome. Lexus, God bless the kind soul that got this man to school. Lexus, you do all. Fred. All right, Fred, thank you so much for your kind messages. I mean, we love to hear stories like this, inspiring stories like this, and that's why we thought it a great idea to have Gabriel on. And look, I totally agree that this is a very inspiring story. All the challenges and that you've been through, and persevering through it all. I really can't imagine going to school and with the nature of, tertiary lectures and whatnot. I mean, the amount of classwork and assignments and whatnot that you have to go through, and then you come back and then you have to go to your manned post as a security guard and stay up through the night
and go back to school
again.
Yes. There were even days where I had to, so what even led to me stopping the work was there were times where I had interim assessments as early as 7:30 a.m. and exams as early as 7:30 a.m. And with the nature of the security work, until your partner
colleague,
comes to relieve you, you are not supposed to leave the post.
Yeah.
But then it got to points where I had to leave because it was almost 7.
Yes.
I had interim assessments, I had exams, and no one was coming.
Wow.
And when you call the supervisors, they keep on telling you to wait. So it happened for like 3 times. And that was when one of the supervisors told me that the way I should choose between the school and then the work. So that was when I had to.
So that meant that you had to you had to forfeit the accommodation as well.
Yes, I had to forfeit the accommodation as well and move to campus.
Move to campus where?
So moving to campus was another story on its own. So I had this friend. He was patching someone on campus.
So you went to
generously, yes, I went to Pecha. And the funny thing was, days where the legal bed owner is around and my friend is also around, then it means that day I won't get a place to sleep. So those were the days I had to force myself to be in the study room as if I was studying, but then I'm sleeping. So it was one friend of mine who, he had access to a lecture hall at his department. So he gave me access to the lecture halls, and then he told me that in the evenings I can come and be using that place for resting. So that was what helped me for a while. I had to, when it's night time, I go there, join the table, we sleep on it. The following day, wake up early in the morning, go back to the hall where my friend was patching, go and shower, dress up, and then I moved to business school. So I was doing that for a while, and then through that, at that time too, because I had stopped the security work, money was no longer coming. And then the same friend who got me the place, the lecture hall to be sleeping in, got me some side teaching job. So that was what began to fetch me some money to cater for myself financially in school. So I did that for a while. And then through that, in that same period, I that was when I contested for the position of the organizing secretary of the business school, and then graciously it went well. So I was elected as organizing secretary, even though I wasn't having a place to be sleeping. So I went. That was in level 300. So fast forward into 400. Access Pensions Trust generously they opened a scholarship. And then I applied, and graciously I got it.
Wow.
So it was a scholarship that covered tuition and accommodation.
Okay.
So they made me get a place on campus, a hall, coupon, and then they made the payment for me.
Right.
So that was when I moved to 400. So in 400, at least I had a place where I could rest at night. So that was how the whole thing was.
Wow. Look, this is amazing, and you really have been through a lot. But in all of this, what did it teach you?
All right. So one thing it taught me was, as I mentioned earlier on, as a human being, no matter how difficult it is, okay, anything that you want to achieve, it is possible for you to achieve it. You just have to have the right mindset, and then believe that with God, all things are possible. Just have the right mindset and believe that with God, all things are possible. Because had it not been God, and had it not been the fact that I had the right mindset from the kind of people I surrounded myself with at a point in time in the journey, it would have been, I'm not sure I would have gotten to this place, because it got to points where I wanted to give up. But then it was because I was surrounding myself with the right people, and the inspiration from these people was what kept me going. Yeah.
Amazing. They said tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Yeah.
And you are one tough nut, and I'm sure it's only going to get better from here on. What do you hope to do now? Now you're doing your service, your national service in an investment company.
Yes.
What does the future look like for you?
Okay, so now I'm actually looking at two things. As I mentioned earlier on, becoming an asset manager, and then also becoming a lecturer, because I love to teach.
Okay.
So I want to go back into academia.
Okay.
So those are the two things I'm looking at, and then also adding up the work of ministry. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I want to go into ministry.
You want to go into ministry
Yes,
as well?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's great. That's amazing. Wow. Now, William Cecil says, Kwame, give my number to him so I can give him 2 emails to apply, and I'll push you to the MCs of the banks to roll him in one of them. Okay, enroll him. I'm sure that's what you mean. Okay, that's interesting, William. I'm gonna put him in touch with you as well. And then this message here says, Lexus, I'm listening to Gabriel and everything is making sense now. The guy is very professional at the office and always smiling. The ladies have a name for him because of the constant smile on his face. Congratulations to Gabriel. Your colleagues and I are proud of you, and that's from Kwabena.
Yes, that's our managing.
Oh, that's your MD.
Director, yes.
Wow. Kwabena, thank you so much for
Thank
this
you,
vote of
Kwabena.
confidence in our man Gabriel. What name do the ladies have for you? Do you know the name? What's the name the ladies call
That'll
you?
be for another day.
That'll be for another day. Okay, I hear you. Maybe Kwabena, you should share with us. He doesn't want to tell us. So I got a message from Kalulu in Northampton. He says, I'm proud of this guy, Alexis. Perhaps you should do a series on such people who pushed themselves from humble beginnings and are making it in life. I once met a young man who wanted a hotel security job with an all A's except one B was the result. So he could help his mom fend for his siblings and take care of his sick dad at the same time. He didn't get the job, but I bought him the University of Ghana form and he got admission just like that. He passed with first class honors, worked for a while, and now he's doing a master's in the US. His story is so inspiring. You made me shed tears when he tells you his story. You made me shed tears. His name is Emmanuel Ado, and I'm so proud of him, and that's from Kalulu. Thank you so much, Ima, for sharing this. But yeah, I mean, so many messages. I wish I could read all of them, but yeah, time is up now. I'm so grateful that you shared your story with us, and I know somebody out there will be inspired to keep going and keep pushing And I'm praying that many good things will happen along life's way for you
Amen.
so that you
Amen.
achieve all your goals. Thank you
Amen.
so much for sharing.
Thank you so much, Lexus. Before we leave, I just want to appreciate some few
Yes,
people
please, go
here.
ahead.
So, first of all, I want to appreciate the Almighty God for bringing me this far, and then also my dear parents and siblings, and the amazing members of Christ Assembly Worldwide, and my esteemed Pastor Julius Glory for Christ Lord, and the entire team at InvestCorp Asset Management.
Right.
InvestCorp is actually another home for me. And then also Mr. Martin Adi, yes, and Haji Hamida Nuhu. They were the two people who helped me start the whole university journey. Yes. And any other person out there, all my friends, any other person out there who, in one way or the other, contributed to this.
Great. Thank you so much, Gabriel.
You're
Gabriel
welcome. Thank
Nartey
you,
here
Lexus.
on Joy 99.7 FM with a very inspiring story. If you missed any part of this conversation, get on our Facebook page and check out the video. It's live. Uncle Ken will be on your radio very shortly. It's 8 o'clock and Noella is here with the news.